Hey YouTube, welcome to another video. In this episode, I will explore one of the relatively newer feature implemented with TP Link Omada that I still haven't showcased in my videos. This is the LAN DNS functionality. To be able to use this, you must have at least an Omada SDN version 5.15.20. So if you are using version 6.0, then you are good to go when it comes to Omada software. At the time of the release of its feature, it can only be used with an ER7206 or higher. But with my recent testing, LAN DNS is now fully supported with ER605 version 2.0 with the latest firmware. There are three types of LAN DNS configuration with TP Link Omada: IP, CNAME, and forward configuration. LAN DNS for IP maps a domain name to a specific IP address, so this makes the gateway a local DNS server. This is really good, especially when you are hosting your own web server in your own home and you want hosts in your local area network to access the web server via the private IP instead of public IP addresses. It works for both IPv4 and IPv6. As for the LAN DNS for CNAME, this is used to set aliases for domain names. With CNAME type, the gateway maps the domain name to the configured CNAME. It then sends the request to the DNS server and replies to the local host with the IP address corresponding to the CNAME domain name. And last but not the least is the LAN DNS for forward. LAN DNS with forward type configuration forwards query requests for specific domain names to other DNS servers. This type of configuration offloads DNS query from the gateway. With this configuration, the gateway forwards DNS queries from LAN hosts to the specified DNS server and relays the DNS responses back to the LAN hosts. This used to be the one and only way to resolve DNS names, so in a way this is the OG or original version. So this is the LAN diagram for this episode. If you have seen my previous episode, this is the exact same configuration. The only difference is the addition of the LAN DNS feature in here for this configuration. And I have also updated this diagram just to show that my media PC, this PC that I'm using for recording, is under the KEEP VLAN, which has the IP address of 192.168.2 IP network. So this is the Omada console. As you can see, I am using an ER605 version 2.0 as my gateway. A lot of the configuration here will be involving the gateway, so the switch and access point doesn't really do anything for this particular configuration. So the only thing that you need to worry about for the LAN DNS configuration is the gateway that you are using. Make sure that it is at least version 2.0 of an ER605. If you are using a better gateway like an ER7206 or ER7406 or ER707-M2 and higher, then you're good to go, so long as you make sure that you have the proper firmware with the latest updates that supports LAN DNS capability. I'm going to show some of the settings in here that affects the DNS functionality of this configuration. So network config, and then internet, and under 1.1 I will have this particular configuration. As you can see here, I don't have any specific DNS server configuration, so it's just getting the DNS server of the ISP provider that I'm currently using. So I click cancel in here. Now I'm going to the VLAN settings to show the LAN DNS configurations for those VLANs. Network config, and then LAN. So all the VLANs in here are using the same configuration when it comes to DNS server. I'll open some of the VLANs in here just to show the LAN DNS configuration that I have for each VLAN. I'm here at the management VLAN. I'll click edit, and then I'll go to advanced settings. In here, you will notice that my DNS server settings is set to auto. It just means that I'm using whatever my ISP is currently providing. I can override that by using manual. I'll just revert back to auto and cancel any changes that I have. I'll go to my MDU and I'll click edit, and I'll go to the same setting, advanced settings, and you can see that DNS server is also set to auto. So all of my VLANs in here, the DNS server is set to auto. Now let me go to my clients. In here you can see that I have 11 clients. Let me just open my VNC 10.100. So this is my IP address, the machine that I'm using currently. I'm in the keep VLAN, so you can see that my IP address is 192.168.2.100. So if you're confused, my IP address is not showing up in here because I am in the keep VLAN. I did cover that in the previous episode, so if you're interested on how to do this, I highly suggest you watch my previous episodes. Let me just ping these devices. So now what I'm going to do is ping these devices using their names. So let me ping Raspberry Pi DT01, Raspberry Pi 5 DT01. As you can see, I cannot ping this one. How about DT03? I cannot ping that one as well, and DT02. So let me do that as well, and let's look up. As you can see, my keep VLAN, basically my gateway is currently my DNS server. In this particular case, I have my own gateway in here, and it's connected to the gateway here. This is the ER605 version 2.0, and it's getting the DNS server functionality on this one. So my gateway in here is resolving the name via the ER605 version 2.0. Let's say google.com, cnn.com, there you go, yahoo.com, there you go, and reddit.com. Of course, if I type any names in here like the PyDesk, this one will not resolve. There you go, unknown can find PyDesk. If I ping PyDesk, it will not resolve. To be able to resolve those names, I need to configure the LAN DNS. So I need to configure my ER605 gateway to be a DNS server based on those three configurations that I discussed earlier, which is the IP, CNAME, and forward type. To do that, let's go back to the network config, and then LAN, and then in here you can see I have LAN DNS in here, so LAN DNS, and then you will see here that I already have configured and tested this beforehand, but I would like to show how it's configured. To create a new entry, just create a new LAN. For simplicity, I'll just call it IP DNS 01, and this one will be pydesk.local.com. This is the name that I would like to add, and the IP address will be, and I would like to apply it to all of the networks. Click save. It's currently disabled, so let's ping it again. Ping pydesk.local.com. Doesn't resolve. Now let me turn it on, and let's check it out again. Ping pydesk.local.com. 3, 2, 1, go, and as you can see, resolves to 192.168.14.100. So this is how you can add a DNS entry for your devices. So if you have a web server, an FTP server, or any type of servers that you have and you would like to name it instead of remembering their IP addresses, then this is the way you should do it. Remember to use your private IP address, not the public IP address, whenever you are creating this type of DNS entry. Let me just create another one just to demonstrate it again. Profile name IP DNS 02. I'll enable it now, and then local, I'll make it simple, add the IP address, and then I'll apply it to all the networks and click save. Now let me ping local. There you go. Now if I turn off both of these, I need to flash my DNS. So if I ping that same DNS name again, it should not resolve anymore, and this one will not resolve anymore. And then let me do it again, local, and the other one is pidesk.local.com. If I turn those two, pidesk.local.com, 321, go, as you can see, and then Raspberry Pi, there you go. It resolves, both of them resolves to the DNS server. So next one I would like to demonstrate and show how to do is the use of CNAME. So I'll just create a new one. There you go. CNAME DNS01 for the domain name. So this is the name that you would like to access locally. It could be a shortcut to a popular website. This is an alias basically. Subscribe, like, share, and I would like this to be a CNAME type, so I'll click CNAME, and this one should resolve to www.google.com, and I'll apply it to all of that network. So select all, and then I'll click save. Let's edit that again. So let me copy and paste that one to my console. Let me just do ipconfig // DNS. Let's look up. Again, my server is still the same. Google.com. There you go. So you can see that google.com resolves into this IP addresses. However, this one, just copy and paste. It doesn't really resolve to anything, but once I enable this, it should resolve to the same IP address. Let me just ping here as well, make sure that it's not really active. As you can see, it's not really active in here. So let me go to NS lookup, try that again, www.google.com. There you go. And if I do this, nothing is resolved. But if I enable this, click save, there you go. Subscribe.like.share.com, and if I do the same thing again, it should resolve to google.com. So basically, this particular domain is an alias for google.com. So you can make a shorter name for your convenience, like Goog, however you want it. So that's the CNAME functionality. The last one that I'm going to demonstrate is the original function of the gateway, which is just a DNS forwarder. It just forwards the query to a DNS server, it resolves, send that reply to the client. So since most DNS servers, whatever you use like Quad or Google or Cloudflare, almost pretty much returns the same responses, the way I'm going to show that it works, what I'm going to do is use a correct one and then use a wrong one to show that it works. Let me create a new one. Forward -DNS01 yahoo.com forward, and you would like to forward it, let's say, to 8.8.8, and then I click save. There you go. Currently it's disabled. As you can see, this is forwarding type, and if I do this yahoo.com, then you will see that it provides me with these IP addresses. And if I do the same thing, if I enable it and then try to do the same thing, you will see pretty much it's the same reply. So nothing much has changed. So let me do that, exit, ipconfig /DNS. So if I ping yahoo.com, it should reply normally. So the way I should prove that this functionality works is by making it fail. So let me go here, forward, and let's say 8.7.6.3, then click save. There you go. So what this gateway is going to do is forward the yahoo.com query to the wrong DNS server. So this one doesn't exist, this DNS server doesn't exist, meaning if I try to ping or try to reach it, it will not work. So let me try to do that. Flash DNS, let me ping, and as you can see, yahoo.com is taking a while to reply. And if I do NS lookup, and if I try yahoo.com, again, same thing, it cannot reach the yahoo.com. But if I choose a different server, the correct one, then yahoo.com should be okay. As you can see, the yahoo.com works because the DNS server that I chose, forcefully chose, is 8.8.8. Same thing if I use 1.1.1.1, again, yahoo.com will work, same thing. However, if I choose the server 192.168.2.1 and I try Yahoo again, then it doesn't really work. As you can see, it cannot find yahoo.com. So let me fix this one by putting in, let's say, 1.1.1.1. Click save. Let me turn off and then turn on again, and then if I try yahoo.com again in here, there you go. Now it's fixed. Even if my server is 192.168.2.1, it's still working properly and as expected. So I think that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you learned something from this video. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please give it a like. Please don't hesitate to give a comment, say hi, hello. And if you get to this point of this video, thank you very much for watching my video from beginning to end. It really does help the channel. If you're not yet a subscriber, please do subscribe. I really would like to reach 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you again for watching the video. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you and bye bye.